Wow! Wherever you might be watching me from all over the world, a warm greeting to you all. My name is Seun Akishon. I'm using this medium to introduce to you a powerful program coming soon on Safe Omega Media, titled A Seed in Me. A Seed in Me. A Seed in Me. What is that seed in you that is yet to discover? Join me on this program to discuss on how we can discover the seed in us. A seed that can allow you to shine in life. According to the book of Isaiah chapter 60 verse 1 says, "Arise and shine, for your glory has come." Without you discover the seed in you, you can never shine. Without you knowing how to grow your seed, you can never shine. Without you knowing how to nurture your seed, you can never shine. Without you knowing how to use your seed to impact life positive, you can never shine. Join me on every Wednesday at 6 p.m. prompt on Facebook Live at Safe Omega Media. Thank you and God bless you. But tell a friend to tell a friend. Thank you.
Is enough. SORO SOKE, sponsored by Better Niger, and I'm your host, Mr. FEMI OKE, and welcome to the show dedicated to debate and discussions towards a better Niger for all of us. Today's show is titled Nigeria, a lawless country. Whose fault is it? The citizens or the state? My guests today, who are on Zoom, I have Mr. ADEOYE. Welcome to the show.
Good evening, Femi, and thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
I also have Mr. Akinfe. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
And also my final guest, Mr. AYO Ugudimu, popularly known as Citizen AY. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Good evening. And
okay, welcome everybody. You can call in at any time to this show. On our numbers are +44 791 809 952. You can also call us on +44 203 77 220. So I want to start off today by going into this very thing about the lawlessness that's happening in Nigeria. It's often said Nigeria is a lawless country. Is this the fault only of the state? I put this question to Mr. Obanleo. What do you say?
Good evening once again to all our viewers all over the world, wherever you're watching us from. Lawlessness, as the name implies, is simply a situation where the level of social decadence and disrespect or disregard for the rule of law is clearly visible among the citizens of that particular country. And this evening, our emphasis is actually on our beloved country, which is Nigeria. Now, when we look at the issue of lawlessness generally, you have to equate it both from the perspective of the citizens and the leadership as well. And in this instance, both the leadership and the citizens have their own fair share of blame, because leadership starts from the bottom to the top, from the top to the bottom, not from the bottom to the top. So when you allow the rule of law to be messed up so badly as the situation is, then lawlessness comes into the equation. Nigeria is a country with over 200 million people, with different ethnicity, different tribes, And religion, Christians, Muslims, and those who belong to the traditional, who believe in traditional values. But when you fail as a society to be able to inculcate the beliefs and the tribal things into a norm that is acceptable, in any civilized country, then all sorts of things begin to fall apart. Be the police, be the judicial system, being the security issues, which has been a cause for concern in the last couple of years. Now, the problem we have is when we look at the reasons why we are in such a perilous situation.
Is it the fault of the state? That's the question.
The fault of the state and the fault of the citizens as well. Because when you don't have when there is systemic failure and you don't have a system in place that is working, then there is always bound to be an imbalance in justice, with the policing system, when people don't respect the law, when people have no regard for the rule of law, and it now becomes a situation where rule of mind now becomes what people now resort into. Then these are the kind of things that
let me bring Mr. Akinfe into the equation. Mr. Akinfe, as Oba was saying, is it the fault of the state? Is it only the state that's causing the lawlessness in Nigeria? What is the role of the state in creating and maintaining a country of laws?
Yeah, I believe it's the fault of the state, because you just look at the dynamics of Nigeria. You look at, figures don't lie. Our population is growing by 2.6% every year. So that means you're getting 5.2 million people come onto the job market every year. Are we creating new jobs for them? No. So when there is nothing for people to do, people have no opportunities, people have no education, and AK-47s are freely available, people are going to resort to crime. I just look at the figures. I was looking at the figures before the program. During his last 4-year tenure, President Barack Obama created 135,263 jobs. Bill Clinton created 132,705 jobs. So, and if you look through the American presidencies, you find out that the figures are all kind of similar. George W. Bush, he was 134,000. So that is the average American president is expected to create at least 130,000 jobs. Is that
per year?
Now, we have to ask ourselves, how many jobs has President Buhari created in the 4 years he's been in his first 4 years as president? So how won't people resort to crime? So, this is an economic issue, a socio-economic issue, and it's got to be addressed that way. And unless we do something dramatic, diversify our economy, dramatically raise the amount of foreign direct investment coming into the country, I don't see how these problems are going to go away, no matter how many.
Let me get on to Mr. AY. Look, Oba has said that, it's both the state and the people. Mr. Akinfe has just explained to us that basically, if jobs are not being created, a state of lawlessness will ensue, and that he's faulting how much has the government done in terms of creating the jobs that could assuage the nation. And as he said, the population is growing about nearly 5 million people per annum. So clearly we're not 200 million anymore, because if you add 5 million every time we look at the rate, the population, when they said that we are 200 million, we should be roughly about maybe at least 215, if not 220, 30 million by now. So my question to you, AYO, Mr. AY, is what are the roles of the various arms of government in maintaining rule of law? Because at the end of the day, governance is down to the various arms of government. We have various arms of government, various levels of government. You've got the judiciary, you've got the executive, you've got the legislator, and then you've also got the states as well as the federal. What is their role in terms of maintaining the rule of law, and have they been doing so? I'll put it to you. What do you say?
Look, that is a lot of question put into one. A lot of questions put into one question, if you like. It's multifaceted. Now, one of the things, the best way I can address this is this. Look, the structure from the ground up has been faulty from day one, and that is the problem. When the structure is faulty, that is to say, the minute that we got independence and the British stepped forward, gave the seal of approval to the North, having the born to rule title. That contraption called Nigeria was already a fail. It was already a failure before it even began. It was already a non-starter, and everything on top of that has just compounded that failure. So the structures, though, when you look on paper, one of the things that we're very good at doing in Nigeria is we're really good with words. So when you hear words written on a document that sounds official, it sounds like, wow, they've built you a marvelous.
Yeah, I'm losing you, Mr. AY.
Can you all hear me? Hello there.
Yeah,
I'm here.
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So what I'm saying is that when you look at what we have essentially is a nation built on falsehood, lies, warm words, fine written words that has no bearance to the reality on ground. So the structures and the words are two separate. Hello.
Someone's putting in some music. Go on. Mr. AY, can you hear me, Mr.
So the words, I can hear you.
Yeah,
I'm loud now.
Yeah.
So now the structures, like I said, the structures and the words are two separate things. So the words are saying, someone is mute your phone if you or something. If you So now, what I'm really trying to get at here is this: the important thing to understand is that our structures do not match the words. Our structures don't match those. Somebody's saying something there. I can't. So our structures don't match the words that were written in the document, in our constitutional document. It has never matched. And what is actually happened is that.
Okay, Mr. AY, let me just move on. Look, we often blame our constitution as not being the constitution of the people. That is a document that enforces lawlessness, as you're trying to say now. My point to you, as I was raising that point, is about what are the various government bodies that are there now? What are they doing? What are the legislators, who are often referred to as legislators, who are more concerned about? Yeah, can you hear me? We often blame our constitution as not being a constitution of the people, a document that enforces lawlessness. What are the legislators? What are the legislators, also referred to as legislators, who are more concerned about committee titles and privileges and constitutional projects like largesse, instead of creating meaningful legislation to correct our faulty military-imposed constitution? Isn't it not the job of these legislators to create laws to amend our constitution so that it becomes a constitution fit for purpose? What do you say, Mr. Obanlewo?
Thank you, Femi, for that wonderful question. You see, the problem is, as you rightly said, you've called them legislators, not legislators. When you deliberately have some things embedded in your constitution that favors the people who are the corridors of power, but not the people who you are actually meant to lead, then it beggars belief why you are in that position in the first instance. Most of the things that goes on in the upper echelon of the Senate and the House of Reps, for so many years, you know, all the modalities and the the mannerism in which they've gone about legislative business has always been put into question. That how can you call yourselves legislators or senators without having the interest of your and the welfare of your citizens at heart? Now, most of the things which they need to look into, which is the welfare of their citizens, how to come up with things, debates in the House that will benefit the lives of the average Nigerian. Just like citizens AY mentioned earlier, that the foundation has been faulty. And when people deliberately seek electable positions with one intention, which is to go and enrich their own pockets, while the affairs of their own people who elected them becomes secondary and becomes inconsequential, then these are the kind of things that happens. You know, how much do these people budget in a year to take care of education, infrastructures, the health sector, agriculture, housing, all these basic infrastructures that needs to be in place? How much of these funds goes towards these causes? How much of these funds goes into the pockets of illicit contractors? How much of these funds goes into the pockets of these legislators? Are these people being held accountable?
So, Mr. Obanilo, isn't it not another form of lawlessness that these same legislators, as we call them, are not doing their job, which is to also to monitor and checkmate the executive to make sure that all these expenses that you're talking about, they've heard of what they call juicy committees, where people go on these juicy committees because they know they can get kickbacks and whatnot, for covering up bad contractors and whatnot. Directors of the MDAs are giving them all this kind of money to make them quiet, so they don't probe and look into what's happening. Go on.
You see, the thing is that it's quite unfortunate that when these people get to Abuja, they forget the communities they're representing. Whether you are a member of the House of Representatives or a member of the Senate, it is only a microscopic few. It is only a few of this so-called law enforcement legislators or senators, as we would like to put them, that really have the best interests of their citizens at heart. Now, when a situation arises where they always come under scrutiny by the amount of money they claim in expenses, wardrobe allowance, salaries, without putting into retrospect the average citizen within their community who is just on peanuts in a month.
Then, no one is programming the constituency projects, is there?
And no effort is being made to make sure that, look, we are coming under public scrutiny on a daily basis. Isn't it time that we reduce and come up with measures to reduce how much we take home? And why should
let me bring Mr. Akinfe back into the equation here. Mr. Akinfe, lawlessness, and we've talked about the legislature shortly now, just for a short bit. There's just one arm of government where there's lawlessness because no one's probing them, nothing's happening there. There's a lot of wastage going on. They're not doing any cutbacks, as Mr. Obanle was saying. But lawlessness in the executive is one of the main problems of Nigeria, with impunity of governors and the presidency. Does this not encourage impunity? You've got immunity, as it were, I said. You've got immunity for governors, immunity for the president. Does this not encourage impunity? The president has issued an executive order and legislation was made at the National Assembly, which is enacted for local government autonomy. But no one is demonstrating or taking any stand for these laws to be applied. Who are the people that are stopping the autonomy of the local government? Is it not the governors, the executives, as many people call them?
Well, in answer to your question, the main culprits are the governors, the 36 state governors. You understand? As far as I'm concerned, they are the biggest criminals in Nigeria. They are the #1 problem we have in our country. If you have a crap president in Abuja, but you have good governors, Nigerians will live well. because it's
I completely agree. I couldn't agree with you more.
Day-to-day lives, education, transport, housing, healthcare, all these matters are provided by states. We are a federation. In a federation, the center owes its existence to the federating units and not the other way around. But having said that, yes, the presidency is also to blame. Some of the, the body language of President Buhari is just atrocious. He's emboldened all these bandits and criminals. And today I heard that he's given the bandits in Zamfara State 2 months to surrender. 2 months. So basically, they've got 2 months to keep murdering.
I think it's 5 weeks. 5 weeks on the shoot to kill that I heard last time that was given.
Yeah. Yeah, 5 weeks. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
This morning, I wrote a story. Give them 60 days.
Well, I don't know about that one, Mr. Akinfe. Look, at the end of the day, lawlessness at the executive level, and as you say, the executive's governors. Why is it, AYO, in our democracy that we haven't really seen a situation where failing governors are being changed when the election happens? Because if there's lawlessness in a country, the executive has a major part to do with it. And as Mr. Akinfe has said, they are the biggest rogues in our nation. How is it that they keep on getting re-elected, having a second term, and after they've done their second term, they go on to the Senate? They have local government elections where 100% of the votes go to the ruling party. This is complete shenanigans. What is happening at the state level? Because you are one who's a proponent for another Nigeria, different Nigeria, break up a separation Nigeria. I put it to you, there doesn't matter whether you have Odua Republic, Biafra Republic, or even Irobo Republic or Tivri Nation, whatever you want to call them. If the politicians who are at the helm are rogues and lawless, you understand, it won't make any difference. What is it to say about those lawless governors? How comes people are not protesting against the shenanigans and the stealing and the looting and the misgovernance that they're doing? Is AYO there? Mr. AY, are you there?
He moved himself.
Okay, Mr. AYO, you need to unmute yourself.
He needs to mute himself.
Okay.
He needs to mute himself because, I've seen here he moved
Okay,
himself.
if he's, I'll put that to Mr. Akinfe, if you could just go back to that one. What are we going to do about these? Because you said they're the greatest thieves.
Sorry, beg your pardon. Get back up. I'm back now. Sorry. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Right.
Sorry.
Did you hear the question at all?
Yeah, I did. Yes.
Okay,
you were talking about the executives. About the politicians and the fact that the governors, they are not being held accountable. How come they are going in and being re-elected and everything else? And
you are a citizen AY, and I'm saying that why are people like you, apart from galvanizing for separation, why are you not challenging these governors for their extingencies and the misgovernance that they're doing and the brazen looting of the funds and misgovernance in general? Why are you not addressing them?
The fact is, we are addressing it. We are addressing as we speak right now. We are holding Governor, whatever his name is, the so-called Governor Abiodun.
Which state?
Abiodun of Ogun State. We are holding him to account. For example, the people have left Ogun State. For example, people have left Ogun State because of threats of the Fulani headsmen / terrorists killing them. And they're living in Cotonou. And the first thing the governor does is to say, you know what? Here, come and collect a bag of rice and you'll be fine. That doesn't solve the problem. That is not even addressing the problem. And that is one of the issues that we are faced with. And that is what we keep saying. The system it's designed to entrap, to enslave. And it goes back down to the structures. You see, if you have a failed structure, it won't work.
Yeah, I don't want us to keep hammering on that point because I'm still failing to see how we're making these governors accountable. If they're failing in their actions, for example, you're not, Ogun State it was in the news the other day, it's our state. It's one of the states.
No, I'm just stating.
Hold on, it's one of the states that's not conducting local government elections. And they've still got caretaker government, local governments in place. This is against the Constitution. This is against the autonomy of local governments. Some of them are using COVID as an excuse. What are the citizens doing to insist that we must have proper democracy at the local government level, because if we don't have democracy at the local government level, then basically there's no democracy in Nigeria, is there?
Yeah.
Well, what are you doing about that?
One of the things that we are saying right now, the voices of the local citizens are simply not being heard. You've all heard about the fact that they've taken away the powers of the local government areas, and it's all in the hands of the state. And this is done deliberately for the state governor to be able to control the pocket, to control what is going on at any given time. And until we address that issue, whereby power that the local government powers are straight, there's no way upon which this will be allowed to be interfered with by anybody, by any, no governor will come and impose himself above the rule of law. Until we make those changes, they can't work. And because of the faulty structure, it will remain that way.
Okay, good. Let me bring Alba into the debate before we're going to go on a break. Mr. Albanle, well, look, for me, these are just excuses that we're using the Constitution as an excuse for the failures of our government. Look, when we look at government and the levels of democracy, you've got, as I said, the judiciary, you've got the executive, you've got the legislature. There's also the fourth realm of the state, which is the media. What are the media doing? Because they've been very silent. Have they been given brown envelopes? What's their situation? That they're keeping quiet when they can see that since 1999, we basically have not had any serious local government elections. Let's put it into perspective. You have a situation where at the general elections in 2019, many states, they had maybe 50, the governors won with maybe 55% of the votes, okay? All right, so that means opposition parties got like 40-something% of the votes. When it comes to local government elections, there was one just done recently in Delta State. Okowa was out there saying how democratic it was and how great it was. Guess what?
It's not.
Guess what? 100% of the councillors, 100% of the local government chairmen are which party? The PDP. There was another state that was APC, the same thing. How is that tenable? What is the media? We are media analysts. We come on TV. We go, go in the media. We talk. What are we saying to this? That we're allowing these people to get away with this kind of murder?
Look, Femi, the only thing. Let me just go back to your initial question. The reason why we continuously have a dysfunctional system in Nigeria, which is not fit for purpose. You see, you can only blame the media to a reasonable level. The media, they are meant to be some sort of a pressure group, which is the number one focus of the media is to hold the government accountable and to make sure that they report on activities which are confirmed to be 100%, true and nothing but the truth. Now, in most cases, you find out that even from the federal to the state, most of these journalists and people in media organizations are not given the opportunity to do their job properly without victimization, without being victimized. When you come out to report things as accurately as you see them, you become a target for the federal government, for persecution. Not like this country where there's freedom of speech. There's nothing like freedom of speech in Nigeria.
Mr. Oba, look, no media person. There is freedom of speech. There's no one who's in the media right now that's been in jail or has been.
No. Funny. You see,
I know there was one.
You don't have to. No, funny. You don't have to.
Hold on, just a minute. I knew there was a guy in Cross River State that was jailed for some reason or the other. Yeah. But in general, people of the media aren't hounded and persecuted in that way. What I'm saying is that the media in general are failing in their regard to also checkmate this lawlessness. They're more
I wouldn't actually put the blame solely at the feet of the media.
Yeah, but not making it as their sole blame, but they have a role to play.
You have to understand the mentality and the way our politicians and our leaders think in Nigeria. You see, we do not operate a fully functional democratic system whereby it's a government for the people, by the people, and for the people. You know, when you handpick journalists who you know you can manipulate, journalists who you know you can give envelopes to, and you intentionally marginalize those who you know that you cannot bribe them with envelopes, and you continuously bribe them. Try to squeeze them and make them look as if maybe they are antagonistic towards the government. Then these are the kind of things that you see.
What you're saying is what I get from that is that government doesn't give them the juicy contracts as they used to get, so they're feeling antagonized. Let me move to Mr. Akinfe. Look, we talked about the executive, we've talked about the judiciary, we've also talked about the media. Look, we've got to get to the judiciary. We've got a situation where we've got the judiciary now, and this judiciary have just been not up to scratch. I mean, it's so sad, isn't it? What are we going to do with what we've got in Nigeria? We've got a big problem. Even our judiciary, they're often referred to as judiciary. They have been proven to be Judases when it comes to uploading the law and defending the common man. Is it not the place of the final hope? That's the final hope for the common man. But that's not the case in Nigeria. It's always only the place for the people with the big wallets. Why are Nigerians silent about the failures of the judiciary? You can't get any law and justice in our courts in Nigeria. It goes to the highest bidder, isn't it? Isn't that also a form of lawlessness? Mr. Akinfe?
Well, in answer to your question, politics is an entrepreneurial activity in Nigeria, right? If we understand that basic premise, all these issues will fall into place. You go into politics because you want to make money. When you become a judge, you rub your hands with glee because yes, your share is coming your way. The same thing goes for governors, for members of the National Assembly, and the people who, we keep on saying they are victims. They collude in all this whole thing.
Absolutely.
I remember, was it the last Osun State election? On national TV, I think it was the APC representative. He came on TV to say, look, after a few days of campaigning, people were coming to them say, look, the PDP is giving us rice and gari. If you guys don't play ball, we're going to vote for them. And he said they had no option than to go and hire trailer loads of rice, and they started distributing it. And that's how Nigerian democracy operates. So when we're ready to change as a people, we won't tolerate all this nonsense. But now, even if you're an honest man, the people won't let you be an honest man. That's the truth of Nigerian politics.
Yeah, but Mr. Akinfe, the judiciary are not supposed to be imbibed in politics. However, we noticed, I think it was last week or so, in Nigeria, there was a big kerfuffle about the fact that the NJC had put in names of new judges to go before for the new judges, and then they were all the recommended judges were taken out, and completely new ones were put in place. And this is the kind of thing that happens in Nigeria. There is no sense of order or consistency. You just do it as you like, and that's another form of lawlessness. The judiciary is a den of inequity, as far as I'm concerned, in Nigeria. And if that is the case, we're in a big problem.
Yeah, you're right. Operationally, can I just make this point?
Yeah, go ahead.
The judiciary should be operationally independent of the government. What we've got here, as we've seen with President Buhari, and the way he removed the Chief Justice of Nigeria, and we've had it with previous presidents, the government interferes in the judiciary. As a people, we should not tolerate that. Maybe that would stem the corruption in the judiciary if it was allowed to be operational independent.
Okay, but I do think that at a federal level, the judiciary has a first-line charge. I'm not so sure about on the at the state level. Look, we're going to take a break now, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about the role of the citizens. We've talked about the various parts of government and how the state is failing in its responsibility and why lawlessness is reigning in Nigeria. What about the citizens? What is their role in checkmating lawlessness? Or are they the problem of the lawlessness of Nigeria? We'll be back just after this. Thank you.
Wow! Wherever you might be watching me from all over the world, a warm greeting to you all. My name is Seun Akishon. I'm using this medium to introduce to you a powerful program coming soon on Safe Omega Media, titled A Seed in Me. A seed in me. A seed in me. What is that seed in you that is yet to discover? Join me on this program to discuss on how we can discover the seed in us. A seed that can allow you to shine in life. According to the book of Isaiah chapter 60 verse 1 says, "Arise and shine, for your glory has come." Without you discover the seed in you, you can never shine. Without you knowing how to grow your seed, you can never shine. Without you knowing how to nurture your seed, you can never shine. Without you knowing how to use your seed to impact life positive, you can never shine. Join me on every Wednesday at 6 p.m. prompt on Facebook Live at Safe Omega Media. Thank you and God bless you. But tell a friend to tell a friend. Thank you.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Enough is Enough, SORO SOKE. Today we'll be talking about the state of lawlessness in Nigeria and whether it's the fault of the state or whether it's actually the citizens themselves that have a role to play in why we have a state of lawlessness in Nigeria. So I want to go to Mr. AY. How are you doing? Are you still there? Are you with us?
I'm here.
Fantastic.
Can you hear me?
Look, yeah, we talked about the role of the state. We talked about the role of the media. Now I'm talking about what is the role of concerned citizens and civil societies like yourself? What is it that you need to do that you're not doing to help curtail lawlessness in Nigeria? The citizens, the concerned citizens and civil societies, what is it that they can do to curtail lawlessness in Nigeria?
The question, good question. In many respects, I actually think the part of the problem is that the conditioning that the citizens have received from the said governance is very much to blame. So when a system has actually engaged in preventing the citizens from actually being able to express themselves, being able to actually question them, being able to hold them to account, it's a very difficult thing to now expect that very same citizen to hold anybody to account, because the system is. I'm going somewhere with this.
No one's
now,
stopping you.
I'm just going to say, I'll just put that there. I'm putting that out there. Now, the next thing I want to say is myself, what I've done, I had a very nasty experience when I went to Nigeria back in 2017. I got defrauded by people who were claiming to be healers and everything else. But for the fact that I'm strong-willed and I thought, okay, you know what? I can't let this beat me. God knows what would have happened. I'm not saying I did it all by myself. I was trying to help my own relative, and people defrauded me of a lot of money. And I'm talking a lot of money. And I'm not afraid to say this to anybody. And
that's individuals, not the state, is it?
I am telling you, the state allowed it, because when I went to the police, you know what the police said to me? Give us £1 million and we'll help you. When I went to
£1 million
the EFCC,
or £1 million naira?
£1 million naira, give us £1 million naira and we'll help you. With the EFCC, the same thing. So look.
Oh, you went to the EFCC, did you?
Yes. Was
this a matter of corruption?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's named people who are in these things. There are named people.
And did you put this out to the press?
Well, I haven't done because I knew there's the fact.
This is what I'm saying.
Hold on. I have done to a certain level, and I tried to pursue it, but it hasn't given more traction. But the fact of the matter is that what led me to what I'm doing today, because I realized that myself, being a UK person, being someone abroad, I can bounce back from this. How many people back home can bounce back from that kind of a thing? People have dumped into the water died because of 100,000 naira, not sort of millions of naira.
I don't dispute. I don't dispute what you're saying.
I'm putting that to one side. Now, going to the central part of your question, what is wrong with the system, and what can the citizens do? Because that's the question you're asking.
Civil society.
And civil society. Now, civil society has a role to play. There's no doubt about it. But you see, when you are constantly, when the governance is constantly ensuring that the civil society has got the controlling those who are going to head those civil societies, because that's what the governance is doing. There's nothing moves in Nigeria without the hand of the fraudulent governance in it. And for as long as you have that, you will have a failed system. And that is the real fact.
Look, I want to move on to Mr. Obanleo. I find that AYE has got a one-track situation where everything is there. Let me finish.
I'm being very realistic.
Let me just say mine. Yours is that you're absolving the citizens and blaming the government at every stage.
No, I'm not.
The first part of this program where we have blamed the government at all levels and we've broken it down. I want to concentrate now on the people. Mr. Obanleo, we're all familiar with the phrase government of the people, by the people, for the people.
Absolutely, yeah.
Nigerians not deserve the selected leaders and the government that they elect. Is it not the people that put them in there?
Yes, I agree with you, Femi. It's the people that put them in there, but don't forget that the people that we're talking about also belong to certain communities, and in their communities, they will have leaders, and it is the leaders that these politicians will call upon to say, look, this is what we want to offer your people. If you can, and this is what we expect in return. Now, Femi, on so many of our programs, I've already said this on numerous occasions. When you have people in your community or in your state or the country as a whole, and you've deprived them of the basic things of life, you've deprived them for so long, then in a nutshell, when you've deprived them for so long of these basic things, then don't always automatically assume that when they try to come with these palliatives to attract them, that they're not going to jump at these offers with both hands. And that is exactly what Citizen AY is trying to buttress earlier. You see, the people, they've been put in this situation by virtue of the lack of visionary leaders that we have in Nigeria. You see, you see, that is the problem we are having. For me, majority of us lived in Nigeria. Is this the Nigeria that we lived in 30, 35 years ago that we're witnessing now? No, absolutely not. The level of governance is deteriorating on a steady scale. If you look at since the First Republic, Second Republic, Third Republic to the Fourth Republic, the level of lawlessness, the level in which now that is why you now see youth in Nigeria involved in one form of criminality or the other. You see, the politicians have been able to get into the minds of these people, and they're now telling them that the only way you can make it now is through thuggery and political thuggery. Yes, you see, because the system is so awash that it is taking a lot of things to have gone horribly wrong for our citizens to be in this perilous situation.
Let me just get back to our viewers. Look, you can call in, as I said before, anytime on our numbers. Plus, it's on the screen. +447 91 809 952 or +44 203 774 7220. Mr. Akinfe, I want to get to you on this very point, because the other two there again have set bases. Let's not blame the citizens. Let's also blame again on the governors and the leaders.
Nah, that's not what we said. That's not what we said. That's not what we said.
You have a situation where citizens do not register, let alone declare their earnings or pay taxes. Governments are also neglecting not collating data by way of a census or registering all employees or employers. you've got a situation where government sanctions the NURTW to collect illegal multiple taxes as a reward for their political thuggery. Look, citizens, when you're a citizen of a country, you have rights. But along with those rights come responsibilities. Our citizens are demanding rights and failing when it comes to doing their responsibilities. What do you say to that, Mr. Akinfe?
Well, you see, the French philosopher Joseph de Maistre, he once said, every people get the government they deserve, right?
Yes.
The Nigerian government is a mirror image of the average Nigerian citizen.
Absolutely.
There are 109 senators in the National Assembly. If you went to Oshodi Market and picked 109 Nigerians at random, you find out that their thinking mirrors that of those senators exactly. You understand? We allow iniquity, we support it. During election time, when politicians come around, how many communities tell a politician, you know what, give us your manifesto. Before, if you don't have a manifesto, get out of our village. How many people will tell a politician that you accept their rice and gari, but you know fully well that these guys have gone to borrow this money, right? Pay you. As soon as he gets elected, what's he going to do? He's going to go and recoup his investment. So, you know, we aid and abet the process. You know, we create our own storm and then we cry when it rains. So, you know, we need a civic reorientation as a people to actually
absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And we also often ask, what is the role of the National Orientation Council? It seems that they're not really doing much in Nigeria. They've been quite silent. The Ministry of Information, we don't really hear much from them except for just defending government, not putting in positive reorientation policies to make a different, better Nigeria. Mr. Ogundimu, Mr. AY, Citizen AY, look, I want to give you another chance to also to let's see what, as I say, the role of the citizens in the mess up that is Nigeria and the lawlessness. Rubbish and waste strewn all over the place, in community to community. Go to village, check our rivers out. They're full of plastic waste, choking up the aquifer. Let me finish. Forests being deforested without replanting or any kind of regulation. Nigeria really is in a mess everywhere. You keep talking about government. This has got nothing to do with government, although government has to execute and punish people. I want to say to you, everywhere you go, it's not glowing, is it? What is the miracle solution to this lawlessness, Mr. AY, Citizen AY?
For me, you know me. Look, it says on my cap, I don't see a future for Nigeria as it currently stands, to be honest, and that is a fact. I just thought that there is no future when you have a group of people that believe that they have a born-to-rule mentality, that they are going to run the country and they will not let others who know better to run that nation to be able to give it, make it viable.
Ayo, that agenda is not the agenda of this discussion. Focus on the agenda. Hold on. What I'm talking about is individual responsibility, community responsibility. Right. And what I'm suggesting to you, I've been to villages in the north, I've been to villages in the south and the east, wherever you call it, it is the same. It's got nothing to do with the federal government, what happens in your village. And I'm saying to you, Nigeria is not glowing. What is the miracle solution to this lawlessness? If you have any kind of republic, whatever, that's not going to solve the dirty communities and the disrespect and the all the stuff that's happening on the ground. How is that going to change?
Let me speak specifically about what the people can do. The first thing that they can do is self-empowerment. And you've seen me on this program. If there's any chance, and I doubt there's any chance anyway, I think that chance is gone. If there's any chance to rescue this contraption called Nigeria, if there's any chance, the people have got to have their say. And how they have their say is to build their own communities, start dictating the terms upon which they interact with their governance, and begin to actually hold their governance to account. The problem, of course, with that is that the governance, they disregard the rule of law. They believe they are the law. They believe that whatever they say goes. They believe that the citizens must bow in front of them. They believe that there is nothing the citizen can do without them. They believe they have the power. And that is what the citizens must do. In each community, you must look at your community and decide, you know what? I am responsible for what's happening in my community. If somebody comes into my community and they are giving me 5,000 naira and I take it, the effect of that is that the next week I will not have light on my road. I will not have water in my pipes. I will not have healthcare. I will not have school for my kids. And these are the kind of things. But it all goes back down to proper training. It's proper education. And it doesn't mean education in school. We can go adult education even now. The things, I tell you what, one thing that I found out when I started doing this drive about the Nigerian Constitution, and started reading it with people, it suddenly made me aware of the vacuum, the huge chasm of lack of knowledge of one's right in that nation. Even as we speak now, more people know. There's improvement, but it's still a long way. But the problem is that even that knowledge now, the governors do not respect the constitution. A government, when the judge passes the decision, the government disregards it, tosses it in the bin, and carries on as normal. And you expect the people. What can you do with that? The governance is supposed to provide safety and security for the citizens. It says so under Section 14, Section 2, subsection 2A. And I think it's B, sorry. And the governments refuse categorically to do so. Instead, they blame everybody but themselves. So at the end of the day, I have to mention the governments. But of course, the people, in the end, if they want to save themselves, they have to come out fighting for their own area. That's how I see it.
Thank you. Mr. Obanlewa, let me go to you again. I'm not badgering you that you're blaming government all the time, but what I want to say to you is you've got collapsed buildings everywhere, bunkering of oil pipelines, construction without approval or planning, people driving without insurance, construction without insurance or certified professionals. People let their property without insurance. Look, people drive on the wrong side of the road. They do whatever they can to take the shortcut. They prefer the shortcut than the long road. Look, the citizens have a lot to bear in this contraption that we call Nigeria. So I'm saying to you, how do we overcome this gap in lawlessness? Citizen AY mentioned education, and we can see the impact of lack of sufficient education in the north, because now there are millions of unemployed northerners now, nothing to do. You've got the problem of the environment, that's global warming, that's affecting the agriculture. They haven't got skills to do other jobs. So they're now coming in their thousands, tens of thousands every day down to the south, also not having anything to do. Then what's going to happen next? They go to crime. Again, that's the citizens. But you're going to, some people blame the state. Of course, the state has got something to blame. But what can the citizens do in terms of changing their mindset to assuage themselves away from criminality and focus on building their communities, building the nation? What do we do? What can the citizens do?
You see, Femi, when you say what can the citizens do, is it possible for the citizens of our country to pave the way themselves for a brighter future without the cooperation and the assistance of the government? It's virtually impossible. You see, because when we come live on this kind of programs, we need to be realistic and be sensible with everything that we do. That this is a program whereby we need to be objective and try to understand and be compassionate about the plight of our people. Now, Femi, a few weeks ago we had a similar program when we discussed in depth about the problems with youths and the reasons why things are not actually working the way we would expect it in a normal civilized country. Now, if you're not asking this question, that what can the citizens do? It has to be with the cooperation and in partnership with the government, who is sincere with their programs and the quality of life they want for their citizens. You see, when you have various kind of apprenticeship schemes, we've spoken eloquently about entrepreneurship. Both in all levels of in all areas of the country, right from what is it called? Youths who are looking at various ways of getting involved in business. Those who want to go to technical colleges to learn new trade, new skills. Those who are already graduates, but they've been unemployed for so many years and can't even get a job because they don't know a senator, they don't know a member of parliament, or they don't know somebody at the corridors of power. Do you know how many graduates are roaming everywhere in every state in Nigeria looking for meaningful? Yes, and I understand. Sometimes your bone of contention that the government cannot find employment for everybody, but even though
we're not a communist state.
Yes, I understand, Femi. I understand. But back to your question, that citizens need to take responsibility and prove that they are also willing to be committed and make efforts. I agree with you. There's absolutely no doubt in what you're saying. But it has to be in partnership with a government that is visionary. Understand that, look, the only way we can build a prosperous tomorrow is investing in these children, investing in our youths, investing in education, investing in construction, investing in housing and agriculture, and so many other laudable projects that will improve the quality of life. You see, so we cannot just throw the bulk at you.
I agree.
I
do accept that you need a level of good governance, a minimal level of governance. So let's get back to Mr. Akinfe. You're still there. Look, in terms of good governance, we have a situation of criminality all across the north and coming into the south of Nigeria. Nasarawa state is a state in question. Short of declaring a state of emergency, the President Muhammad Buhari has put in a no-fly zone in Nasarawa state. And he's also put in restrictions on mining. And they're saying that kidnapping and criminality, but the governor of Nasarawa state, in his response, to the criminality and the kidnappings, they closed down a load of schools, saying, we're going to close down all these schools in our state where people are on boarding. That's not helpful for the educational cause in Nigeria. You're almost giving in to the people like Boko Haram by closing down schools. In his response to the president's restriction on mining, he says that kidnapping and criminality has nothing to do with mining. What is your view?
Well, Zamfara state is a particularly difficult state. It's one of the least developed states in the country, one of the most remote. It has one of the highest illiteracy rates. There's basically nothing in that state. You understand? You go to other states across northern Nigeria, in Kebbi, neighboring Kebbi state, you've got a thriving rice industry. In places like Kano, Kaduna, Plateau, Jos, you've had some industry. There's nothing in Zamfara.
But they've got lots of precious minerals in Nasarawa.
Yeah, they've discovered this gold, but you don't. It's a very recent thing. So there's
not just gold; they have other minerals as well.
But the fact of the matter remains that there is not a thriving mining industry as we used to have in, say, Jos in the 1960s, or we used to have in Enugu with the coal industry.
Yeah, it's all artisan. It's all semi-artisan. Just small groups of people. But what about the role of foreigners? Because I find that if you go to Congo, where there's mining of cobalt and all these kind of things, you find chaos and banditry and criminality. Go to Mali, go to Chad because of uranium, you can find this kind of thing. Are we not looking and seeing that the foreign element having, they talked about the no-fly zone, flying in and dropping arms and fueling because they know that they can go on with their mining unrestricted whilst chaos is strewn across the land?
Oh yeah, we allowed the situation to get out of hand. In anywhere in the developed world, once a resource is discovered, the local government would step in. The regional government, the local government would step in. They would come up with guidelines. In somewhere like Zamfara, the governor should have stepped in, ring-fenced these areas, and then come up with regulations that will govern mining. These are the conditions you have to meet, and then put out tenders to international mining companies. In places like Australia, Canada, where you've got companies that have got decades of experience of this. Bring them in, let it be professional. Give them conditions. You must provide housing, you must provide roads, you must help fund local education in all these areas, you must provide jobs for the local people. All these things would stem criminality. So it's been a free for all, and now the horse was bolted and we're crying. Yes, people are using helicopters to drop arms. People are, the borders are so porous. People are coming from everywhere across West Africa with AK-47s because they believe there's gold there. And we saw it in Sierra Leone and Liberia, and that's unfortunately what we're seeing in Zamfara today.
All right, we're going to take another break, and then we're going to be coming to the last part of the show, where we're going to really talk about more current issues and also still reflect on this our topic about the lawlessness and the state of affairs in Nigeria. Look forward to you after this time out.
Give me 1 sec. I'll be back in a sec.
Wow! Wherever you might be watching me from all over the world, a warm greeting to you all. My name is Seun Akishon. I'm using this medium to introduce to you a powerful program coming soon on Safe Omega Media, titled A Seed in Me. A Seed in Me. A Seed in Me. What is that seed in you that is yet to discover? Join me on this program to discuss on how we can discover the seed in us. A seed that can allow you to shine in life. According to the book of Isaiah chapter 60 verse 1 says, "Arise and shine, for your glory has come." Without you discover the seed in you, you can never shine. Without you knowing how to grow your seed, you can never shine. Without you knowing how to nurture your seed, you can never shine. Without you knowing how to use your seed to impact life positive, you can never shine. Join me on every Wednesday at 6 p.m. prompt on Facebook Live at Safe Omega Media. Thank you and God bless you. But tell a friend to tell a friend. Thank you.
Gentlemen, to the show. Enough is enough, SORO SOKE. With my guests, I have Mr. Obanlewo, who's still with us.
Yes, I'm here.
AYO citizen AY, Mr. Ogudimu, and Mr. Akinfe. Are you all with us?
Anyway, I think that both.
Okay, let me move on to the next part of the show, which we want to talk about current issues. As you're here, we'll talk to you, Mr. Obanlewo. The
Yes.
President and the VP and governors, the President, the VP and governors have all started taking COVID vaccines to relay confidence in the COVID-19 vaccines. Nigerians, however, hardly maintain social distancing and or wear masks and have a high aversion to vaccines. Most of them don't even believe COVID is real. These are all forms of lawlessness. What are we going to do now? We know the government has taken hold of some vaccines and they want to roll out this thing. If people are continuing this kind of lawlessness, how is that going to happen?
You see, Femi, if anybody, after 1 year of this deadly pandemic, still having this negative thoughts in their minds that COVID-19 is not real, and we still, coming up with this abysmal attitude, which is unacceptable, then the longer this lingers on in Nigeria, I think, even the citizenry too will have their own fair share of blame. You see, because there's absolutely no doubt with all the noise coming from all over the world in America, look at the stimulus package that has been announced by the Biden administration, $1.9 trillion.
Can you imagine that?
Which is astronomical, astronomical figures.
Yeah.
Now somebody in Nigeria is now saying, look, it is gimmicks. You see, it still boils down to what we've been saying all along, that when there's so much distrust between the citizenry and the leadership, and they do not believe a word that comes out of the mouth of either from the presidency, down to the 36 states, to local governments, then these are the kind of insinuations that that keeps popping up. Now, if you look at the severity of the number of deaths, there's been high profile cases, and I don't want to mention names on because this is a live program. A former governor lost his life. A former senator, and people in high places of authority. These are the ones that we know. I mean, how about the ones who live in villages or the ordinary citizens that we don't even hear of? And here we still have people still working, going about their normal business as if maybe this thing is just gimmicks. It has to be the only solution, and the only way forward is for mutual emancipation. People coming together, working in cognizance and in one accord with all the governing bodies responsible to responsible at each level of government, whether from state level to the local government or to the federal, and ensure that, look, if it becomes mandatory for you to take these vaccines, please, do not say this thing is not real. The government are only playing games and all that. These things are real, and the earlier the better we can curtail this deadly pandemic through the cooperation and the initiatives on ground. The earlier the better it should be for the whole world to begin to experience a new turnaround. Because don't forget, Femi, here in the United Kingdom, we are still in lockdown. Lockdown, it's still 3 months away, and news of what is happening in the United Kingdom, happening in America, in other parts of the world, it gets transmitted to Nigerians, who live here, other parts and in our country. So it's high time that we show commitment and come out of this lackadaisical attitude and begin to understand that this pandemic is real, and we need to work. We need to work in unison before we can get rid of this deadly pandemic.
I'm glad. I think I have our other guests are back with us, Mr. Akinfe. Right, all forms of criminality and lawlessness, from kidnapping, banditry, communal clashes, herder-farmer clashes, religious, ethnic clashes, corruption, looting, armed robbery, you name it. No state and no region is free from these vices. Changing the leader alone will not make a difference if the system that selects the kind of leaders that have emerged over the last 60 years are maintained. Those systems are lawless systems. What do you say to that? How are we going to be able to change the way we're moving forward as a nation if we continue with the same system that brings the kind of leaders, the kind of inept leaders that we've had for 60 years?
Well, for me, the issue is socioeconomic. Nigeria is made up of 350 ethnic groups, 650 dialects. You see, ethnicity is a last resort. It's something leaders always fall back on when they want to whip up sentiments or to make up for their inadequacies. Now, when you have a governor who's in office for 4 years and he has not created one job, lawlessness is going to reign supreme. Now, as a people, we've got to get into the habit of making demands of our leaders. Can you imagine a British Prime Minister or the leader of the Scottish Parliament or the leader of the Welsh Assembly not creating at least 10,000 jobs a year? That person will be out of office before you know it. But when have you ever heard of Nigerians demonstrate outside the governor's office to say, hey, you haven't created any jobs, you're incompetent, you must go? We don't do it. So, while unemployment. I mean, remember we've got 13 million out of school children. We've got the highest number of internally displaced people in the world.
We're in trouble.
You've got is it something like 80 million people living in abject poverty?
Yeah, poverty capital of the world.
Yep. So I don't see how lawlessness is not going to continue as long as these economic statistics remain that way. So we've got to address the issue from a socioeconomic angle.
Exactly.
Some people call for, balkanization of Nigeria, but that still doesn't address the problem. You still have to create jobs.
We're going to get to that part more to the latter part of the stage, because I'm sure Citizen AY is itching to talk about that. But look, Citizen AY, I come to you now on this point. Our party democracy is dominated by sycophants that celebrate this kind of lawlessness. Is politics about relevance or principles? Some say there are no permanent enemies, but just permanent interests. Political prostitution is another form of lawlessness. What do you say to that?
Look, you're talking to somebody that has, over the years, I've been a fervent supporter of that contraption called Nigeria for more years in my life than I care to even admit. And to now come to that realization that I've come to, that I'm now wearing what I'm wearing above my head, tells me that I know that the time has come to look at other options. And this idea that we are not going to, and I think we need to do something about this thing. I'm going to state this now. It's part of being sycophants and all that stuff is to ignore reality and to try and focus on something that's an ideal that it will never be attained. So that in that mode, in that idea, those who practice politics, they are aspiring to something, whilst by knowing fully well that they're disregarding their responsibility as elected officials, politicians who swore on oath to serve the people. So therein lies the conundrum. These people have an agenda before they even step in. Now, another thing to throw in the mix, and I know I cannot help but bring this in. If we are going to talk about a nation, why is it that certain sections of that nation can be given, they are being allowed to carry around AK-47?
Come on, there's no such law that allows them to carry that AK-47. There's no law that allows them.
I am not saying there's a law, but I am telling you the governor Bala Mohammed said that they should allow pastoralists to carry that they because of their protecting their
so
their
one
animals.
governor becomes
not one governor. This is
one
or
even if it's one or two. Are they the preponderance of governors saying that message?
What I'm saying is
put a brush on everybody.
Wait. What I'm saying is this: there is this an idea that Fulanis can populate and live anywhere in Nigeria, and that is the problem. And listen, but if
hang on a minute. Hold on. Just
you ask me a question. I'm
going to let you get onto this agenda, but it's not just yet. But I just want to pull you up on one point.
Yes.
That you just said there, that there's this idea that Fulanese can live in any part of Nigeria. And I will say to you, and you are a proponent of this so-called of the constitution, that everybody should know, that a Yoruba man can live in any part of Nigeria. An Igbo man can live also in any part of Nigeria. So you're focusing on a particular tribe. I think it's disingenuous. So that's that point. Anyway. Well, let me give you another question whilst you're there. Let me give you another question. Let's focus on this one, because we're going to get to that agenda you want to talk about shortly.
Okay, that's fine.
The so-called new generation of leaders like Showore, with his Babalawo advisors taking him to court, the Mogalus and the Durotoyes have no pedigree and have shown themselves to be incapable of having any coherent strategy, and they have no grassroots structure. Why have none of these elements started alliances or mergers to form a new viable party, a true third option for Nigerians? This is another form of lawlessness. They can't even get together to create one pure, true option, another option for Nigerians, instead of PDP and APC, which we discussed last week, are two sides of the same coin. Mr. Ayo, AY.
Okay, look, the short answer is this. The people who are in power, the levers of power, until we redress the balance of power in that nation, nothing.
Please address the question. Forget about those.
I'm trying to.
Let's focus
okay,
on these
now,
people that I've mentioned. The new generation,
the
Shoreys, the Babala,
the new, you see,
the Shoreys,
okay.
the Mogalus, and the Duratorians. Forget about government. What are they doing? Have they not failed Nigerians?
Well, as we speak, speaking specifically about you, Wole, for example. Now, look at take Traore's case, for example. The federal government of Nigeria has been ordered to release him. What have they done? He's been put on bail.
Okay, so he's out of the mix. Let's talk about Duratorian. Duratorian, Mogalu, and all the rest. What about them?
Look, Duratorian and everything else. Everybody knows that they are not really. They're being front for other things, and everybody well knows that.
And Mogalu as well.
But I don't know about Mogalu. I don't know. Maybe there are other things that's in the mix when it comes to Mogalu. But look, the fact of the matter is this. What is going on right now is that there is no the air in that contraption. There is not conducive to have proper elections, a proper what do you call it? Democracy, because everything is being channeled and we are not practicing a democracy. Let's be factual about it. We are not practicing the democracy. And when you stifle development in a nation, this is what you get.
Okay, Mr. Akinfe, let me bring Mr. Akinfe. Mr. Akinfe, I'm sorry to say, but I find AY has been obfuscating from the issues now. And I'm saying to him that... No, hold on. Let me finish. I'm not talking about government now. I'm talking about the opposition. We're talking about people creating a new option for Nigerians. There's a failed system. We talked last week about ABC and PDP are the same. So we're looking at new options. Today I was on TVC, I saw, or was it channels, I can't recollect, something called the Nigerian Consultative Front, which is a hatch patch of disgruntled APC and PD elements. They've just hobbled together to form a merger, which they think is going to be a third force ahead of 2023. What do you make of this? Are any of you involved with this kind of group? And what are the chances of the same old faces making any real changes in Nigeria? Mr. Akinfe.
Well, to be perfectly honest, if you look at the last elections, we had 3 candidates who campaigned on the issues. Omoyele Sowore, Fela Duratorian, and Kingsley Mogalu. I actually followed their campaigns very well, and I really enjoyed their debate. They spoke about the economy, about transport, about housing, about healthcare, about security. But how many votes did they get? People were not interested in what they had to say. I recall there was one instance where Fela Duratorian was campaigning and a woman asked him for something. And he said, hey, do you not realize that if I give you something, when I get there, I'll go and take it back? Now, the fact remains that there will always be Nigerians with ideas. There will always be innovative, imaginative people who come up with solutions. But as a people, we are not yet ready for that. The PDP and APC, which are one party, because you just look at the number of people who migrate between the two parties.
The political prostitutes.
Yeah, they do that. It's whichever stands you in greatest state of getting election, you switch.
Personal interest.
They're one party. People are happy to vote for them because they give them handouts, they give them stomach infrastructure, and it's a very cozy arrangement. They hand you a few thousand naira, a few bags of rice and gari and palm oil and yam.
And then you wait 4 years for the next one.
Exactly. Then you start for 4 years, and then in 4 years' time you come back. And that's just how we are as a people. So as long as we have that mindset,
nothing's going to change. All right. Yeah. Let me get on to Mr. Obanle. We're coming to, nearly to the end of the show. But during the 2019 elections, as Mr. Akinfe talked about, and despite INEC's efforts to curtail the number of parties, so we don't resort to toilet paper roll style ballot paper, we are again likely to face nearly 90 different parties at the ballots. Is this also not another form of lawlessness that's going to show that we're not going to get anywhere and no viable alternative is going to come in 2023? Mr. Obanle, what say you?
Are you talking about how we conduct our elections through ballot boxes?
No, what I'm saying is that we've got a plethora of parties, nearly 90 different parties, and God knows how many more to come. INEC disbanded some parties because they failed to perform. They went to court, got a judgment saying that INEC was wrong. Yeah. I mean, like I said, the judiciary are not there for Nigeria. They're just there for their selfish, sycophant, selfish, greedy and corrupt politicians.
Yeah.
How can we move forward in terms of creating an alternative to APC and PDP, which was discussed last week, many said were two sides of the same coin, when we've got 90 different parties?
Femi,
when I get the ballot paper, I don't even know who's who.
Yeah, now you said 90 political parties. And people know fully well that when they come together all in the name of forming a political party, I've been informed from reliable sources that when they do that, it's not that they have the intentions, or they believe that they stand a good chance of actually winning when it comes to election purposes. Their idea is to form a political party because they know that there's a lot of financial gains, to come out of it. Now, to answer your question, Femi, I still believe that if we can come together, with one intention, which is for the betterment of one Nigeria, or whatever the future says, whether we're still going to go back to a federal system of government, or whichever way each region looks at it. I still believe that the only way forward for us to get a balanced society is to have people of sincere minds saying, okay, look, since 1979 up till 2021, going into 2023, this is the Fourth Republic. Now we've tried two different political parties, PDP, which is the political party that I belong to and that I've served meritoriously for since 1998. I've fallen short of the required standards. Now, what is the viable alternative? What is the viable solution? The viable solution will be: is it still the same crop of people, that have failed in PDP and APC that we're still going to, bring together to form another political party? Because you have to understand that it's not just changing political parties that really matters. It's about new ideas and fresh impetus. We need people with fresh ideas who will be able to say, look, enough of these political gimmicks, enough of politicians or political prostitutes, as you call them, coming out, deceiving people. We've been doing that since the Second Republic. If you take the average age of somebody who was born in 1979 up to this present time, that's 42 years of wastage in Nigeria. People have had their destinies ruined. People have become sojourners, not even only in their own country, but in foreign countries, which, I am a victim, and many other people living in other parts of the world. Now, to move forward is for every single meaningful Nigerian to come together to say, look, it is not just about coming up with the idea of forming a political party. It's about having the right mentality, the fundamental ideologies, and sincerity of heart. When we have sincerity of heart and sincerity of purpose with visionary leaders, then the idea of coming up with a different structure, a different political party, where there is good intent, where there is sincerity of heart, would just gel into place. And going back to the issue of the Mogalus and Showores or whatever, whichever way we look at it, I just felt at the time these people came out to contest, a lot of people looked at them that they are, in terms of political experience, they were lacking, and that was clearly visible with the number of votes that the three of them combined. Not that they didn't have good intentions; they had ideas. But one thing is for you to have idea. It's not just about the intentions; it's about the application as well. They had good intentions, but the application wasn't there. Because I would have thought that somebody like ADEOYE, a very brilliant guy, would have probably gone to the House of Reps or the Senate first to garner experience before coming for the presidency.
Okay. Ideas with no comprehensive strategy and no grassroots leads to zero, as we've seen. Look, absolutely. I want to ask you another question as we're going, and I'm going to come to the other two. Look, agitations for us to go our separate ways for a constitutional conference of over 300 and odd ethnicities. Will either of these end lawlessness, which is embedded in the psyche of Nigerians? Whether you separate, whether we have a constitutional conference of 300 different entities, everyone going their all different ways, will that end lawlessness, which is embedded in the psyche of Nigerians?
Sorry,
Femi,
is that question for me?
No.
Is that question for? All right, okay. Femi, you see, Oduduwa Republic, Oduduwa Nation, whatever we Nigerians, Yorubas are actually agitating for, or whether the Igbos are actually, agitating for their own IPOB or whatever it is, I still believe that you can change the name of a country, but when the mentality and the orientation is still the same, it is still going to be back to square zero anyway. Now, if you really look at the situation, in Yoruba land, which is that part of that part of Nigeria where I come from, and it is in AYO as well, plus my other brother as well.
All 4 of us.
All 4 of us, yeah. So I mean, the problem we have is, you see, there is always this notion about we Yorubas that we don't speak with one voice. And the fact that we don't speak with one voice, as they always say, there's an adage in Yoruba, if there's no cracks in the wall, the lizard will not be able to penetrate. And that has always been the problem with we Yorubas. Citizen Ayo buttressed a very, very, very good point earlier, that we are very good at analyzing problems. We are very good at putting the blame. Oh, the Obas are not fit for purpose. Oh, they've abused their positions as rulers. The Yoruba people, we don't speak with one voice. The tendency for us to betray one another is something that is something synonymous with us. So
back to the question. I'm just trying to say that agitation. Whether it's just to go separate ways or to have this constitutional conference or whatever. Is that going to end the lawlessness which is embedded in the psyche of Nigerians? Are you saying
no, it's not. No, it's not.
Stop saying that.
No, it is not.
Citizens and everything's going to be hunky-dory. There's not going to be any corruption. There's not going to be any...
No. The orientation of our people needs to change. That's what I keep saying. The orientation has to change.
Let me bring. I know that AY is itching to get on this topic because I know that's one of his favorite pastimes. Oduduwa Republic, he's even got a cap on his head. Look, I put this question to you, Mr. Citizen AY.
Yes,
Does the preponderance of the agitations for separation emanating from the diaspora not speak to the arrogance of many in the diaspora living in the El Dorado life, trying to dictate the agenda for Nigeria? When shit hits the fan, those of you will be remaining here comfortable and they won't be there to take the bullets. There's no arrogance that we speak in the diaspora of separation and whatever, and the consequence of the ethnic the things that we're doing in terms of creating ethnic enmity amongst our people. You're in the diaspora sitting enjoying yourself. Isn't that an arrogance in and of itself that's going to cause chaos and heartache over there? And you're not going to be there to feel the pinches when it happens.
Can I answer that question?
That's the question.
Right, okay. Now, first thing first, the reason why we left our shores as Yorubas, as Igbos.
Are you speaking for everybody or are you speaking for yourself?
I am speaking for myself and generally. Many of us have left the shores of our own nation because of the very failure of governance, which we now highlight. We see roads being built in the countries that we are in. We see schools being built. We see hospitals being built. We see bridges being built. We see light 24/7 in the places we build. So what is wrong with us wanting that for our own families back home? Because guess what? The families back home, they ask us for money for food, clothing, shoes, hospital, school,
when you have
everything.
They will stop.
And what we are saying is that at some point, look, let me put it this way, Femi. Look, the average Nigerian is his own water provider, is his own security provider.
Will that change when you have a
light provider?
That's
Is
my
his
question.
own food provider?
Will that change when you have a
Look, I'm trying to. You asked me a question. I'm trying to answer you.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm trying to answer you now. So see, when you put all of those things in that basket, the basket certainly gets weighted heavily in favor of what we are saying, which is that the people who are providing this themselves, it is time to stand together in their own individual regions and go for their own governance. Because as it stands right now, there is nothing that can be said to support the status quo. The status quo has failed in every single category you care to bring forward, and you know that. And I know you like having a discussion, and it's great. But I'm being very, very serious here, and I know I know
I'm giving you leeway to vent your spleen.
But what I'm saying right here is, if we don't, at no point, we do not. People at home, they call. You should see my phone. I have a phone. I have two phones. You see the phone here. This phone that is got my hand here. People call me night and day. The only time this phone is not on is when I switch it off. I'm getting calls 24 hours a day because they are having problems. They are being killed. They are being chased. They are being oppressed. They have no security. They have no light. They have no water. They have no healthcare. Nothing. And the government of no government, none of the governments from state, federal, from local to state to federal is doing anything to address the concerns of the people. So of course, so there is no harm. Of course, when we now have a nation, a constitution will be drawn. As it stands now, that constitution, the people who are in government now, they are refusing to redraw the constitution, even though they know it's a flawed constitution. And that's the problem.
Good luck with the Odua Republic Constitution. I don't want you to dominate the program. I don't want you to dominate the program. Let's get Mr. Akinfe's view on this. Look, Mr. Akinfe, we've already seen, just by the blockade of food from the north down to the south, that the viability of the Odua Republic is a joke, really, isn't it? They couldn't even survive.
Hang on. I'm
talking to you, Ayo. I'm talking to Mr.
Akinfe. They killed
you know, let me finish. Come on. You've had your time.
Okay,
so
that's fine.
We know that is a delusion. They're not ready to even feed themselves, the so-called Odua Republicans. So I want to put this to you now. With less than 2 years to the next generation, next election, there seems no viable alternatives. Whoever emerges, how can they reverse the state of lawlessness? It will take a generational effort. Has this generation lost the plot? Mr. Akinfe.
Well, yes, I do believe they've lost the plot, in answer to your question. In answer to your first question, what can be done? At least we can start with little things. Maybe the first step should be to restructure the National Orientation Agency, get them to actually start telling people, churning out ideas and trying to reorientate the people. Because at the moment, there's no case of civic responsibility in Nigeria. For instance, we heard that along the Lagos-Ibadan new railway line, some people were going to cut up the tracks so that they could smelt down the iron and sell.
Can you imagine that?
No, this is something you live in. There's no transport in the country. The government is trying to do it. You are ruining it. During the when we had the palliative, the COVID palliatives, we saw how many of these things were stored in private warehouses. Some found their way into the market and they were being sold. And you and I both know this COVID vaccine, very soon it will find its way to private pharmacies. This our mindset as a people has to change. Maybe when we start thinking about, maybe because we never went through World War II. You see, in Europe, people went through World War II and they had to be rationing and people had to sleep in bomb shelters. So some sort of cohesiveness developed and, you have to be your brother's keeper. But this me attitude is something that really, really depresses me.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Akinfe. We're going to go on the last question. I'm going to put it to each one of you. And I thank you both, all of you, for coming in. Look, with that spirit of unison, because it's a cohesiveness, we've had this divisiveness that's taken sway in Nigeria now, and people are putting the blame on the fact that we've got a Fulani president and saying that's the reason why the country's so divided, it's so polarized, it's never been divided before, it's never been this bad before, despite the fact that we've had a Biafran war, we've had pogroms, we've had all manner of things that have hit us, which to me are much worse than what we are having now. But anyway, let's move on to the reality of today. This is to Mr. Obanleo, I say, with the fantastic attributes of the likes of our former finance minister and current World Trade Organization Director General, that's Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala.
Yeah.
The former education minister will be Ezekwesili, and the former Nigerian Stock Exchange DG, Ingi Okereke Onyeoku, sorry if I'm not pronouncing it, Onyeke. Yeah. And also we had late Dora Inkem Akunyile, or whatever, and others. Is it time for Nigerians tonight for both parties to opt for a female president from the Southeast ahead of 2023? Mr. Obanleo, what do you say?
You see, I don't think it's whether we have a female president or a female vice president. That would be yes. We have women, in all walks of life in Nigeria who are doing extremely well, in their chosen professions. The typical examples of are the names that you've just mentioned. May the soul of Professor Akinyuli, may I so continue to rest in peace. We know
she did a fantastic job.
The fantastic job she did when she was NDLA director. Now we have a woman who served meritoriously for 8 good years as our Minister for Finance before she got this new position she's in. You see, Femi, the idea of a woman president, I don't think Nigeria is ready for a Nigerian female president.
The men have failed us so badly.
Yeah, the men have failed so badly. I agree with you, and I couldn't concur more than what you said. But at the end of the day, Nigeria would still look at 60 years of independence and say, with the resources and the potentials we have at our disposal, shouldn't we be doing much better?
Sorry, because we're running out of time.
Yeah, yeah. But if you look at if you look at the 36 states, have we had one female governor in 30?
So is it not time now? Is it not
it's
time?
Not time. I don't think the time is
not time. Okay, Mr. Akiffe, what say you? Is it time for us to unite around and coalesce around a presidential candidate from the Southeast, the female one, because the females look like they could do much better than the men? Mr. Akiffe.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry, yes. I say yes to that question for 2 simple reasons. One, we've never elected a president from the Southeast before, so I think there's a need to have a president from there just to show the people there that we're inclusive.
Absolutely.
And we consider them part of Nigeria. As per gender, if you look at Nigeria, you notice that women, although we have some bad women are not under the same amount of social pressure as we men. A man is expected to have 15 wives, 10 chieftaincy titles. Only this week, the Alafi just married another Igbo woman. So there's,
pressures.
Mr. Ogundimu, for instance, is appointed as a commissioner tomorrow. His house will be packed with 200 people. This one wanting donation, this one giving him his daughter, this one. Women don't have that much social pressure. So I think you're less likely to get mismanagement and corruption with women than you do with men.
Although we know what happened with the former the petroleum minister, she's hiding away here in the UK. But let me give the last laugh, as it were, to Mr. Citizen AY.
Hello.
Mr. Akiffe said that as soon as you become a governor, local government chairman, you already said that they're already calling you now, so it would be no different to you. So I say to you, is it time for a female president, an Igbo female president from the Southeast to head Nigeria in 2023? Is it not time for the parties, APC and PDP, to speak to this and say that, yes, we want to zone the presidency to the Southeast. So everybody in the Southeast, you know, get your skates on and start working for the best candidate. And then maybe a female president for that matter. What do you say?
Look, here's my answer. The first thing, before you even talk about any female presidency, the structure.
We're running out of time, so I want to focus on the question.
I don't believe Nigeria can be salvaged.
Okay, let's focus on the question. Focus on the question because we're running out of time.
And I'm telling you, you see, unless you fix the structure, whoever you put in there, they have the same problem.
You've said that, we know that, but let's focus on the question. Whilst we are Nigeria, Ayo, stop shouting. Whilst we are Nigeria, you haven't had to do our republic now. Is it time for us to orientate toward the Southeast and a female president? Is it a yes or no?
Until you get
you can't even answer a straight question.
I can look. The women, everybody should have a right to vote and to run to be leadership. Of course, I would.
Okay.
In a function.
Is it time to go to the Southeast?
No. We have fundamental problems. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I'm asking you. Do you think it's time to go to the Southeast?
No, flatly, no. We have fundamental problems.
No problem. That's fine. Thank you very much, Mr. Ayo. I understand your point of view. I want to thank each and every one of you, Mr. Abanlewo. Thank you for coming onto the show today, Mr. Akinfair and Citizen AY. You've been all very forthright in your views, and I really appreciate you. I want to thank you, the guest, and not only my guest, but you, the viewer, that's taking your time to listen to this show, which is the title of the show is Enough is Enough, SORO SOKE. Make sure you speak up. Don't be shy. Don't be silent. If you see something, say something. If you can't take it no more, do something. Niger go better. We all want a better Niger. For sponsorship, and it's not time for you to be speaking. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact the numbers on your screen. I'm your host, Mr. FEMI OKE, the founder of Better Niger, signing out. See you same time next week when we'll debate another hot topic. Over and out.